Well, good afternoon to everybody. We're gonna wait a couple of minutes to wait for more people to join us today, and we'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay, so we're gonna start today. So again, good evening to everybody. Today we're gonna talk about our corporative services in Chile, or how we call it hosting. I'm gonna explain later in deep what are all these services about. But first of all, I want just to clarify that apart from providing the service in Chile, this is a service that we as Montt Group provide in all the below countries. You can see in the flags below where we have our offices. Our offices are in most of all countries in Latin America, as well as in Canada and in Spain right now, opening offices very soon in Miami. Okay, so what is this hosting or corporative services? The hosting services started many years ago when entrepreneurs begin to land in new markets and realize that they not only need legal services, and when I talk about legal services, meaning to set up a company, to initiate certain procedures where they are practically unaware of certain aspects such as labor or tax in a new market. So it was the same employer that pushed us as a company to offer a much broader service than what we were used to up to that moment, which was only the legal services. Therefore, the hosting service is a package of services that is formed by 5 components, like we can see here in the screen: the legal representative, legal address, accounting service, tax administration, and bank account. I'm gonna explain later more deeply on each of those 5 services. But first of all, I'm gonna give you like a broader description of how does usually the entrepreneur go over the process of installing in a new market. So when the entrepreneur decides to start an operation, in this case in Chile, the process of setting up the company is basically, the first one is to write the bylaws. So at this point, it is not necessary for the shareholders to travel to Chile to set up the company. And therefore, it makes it much simpler, especially now that the sanitary conditions are not the best to move from one country to another. So then, once the company is established, we, as Montt Group, register it with our internal tax services, which is the equivalent to a Canada Revenue Agency here in Canada. And they will give us a RUT, which we call it an RUT, to the company, which is the company number or equivalent to the business number here in Canada for companies. So once we have the company registered and it already exists in Chile, we will be preparing as well the accounting documentation that the company will require, which are mainly invoices. I would like to mention as well that in Chile, there is an electronic invoice that has existed for several years. And I highlight this because in other countries from the region in Latin America, they still have a paper invoice. So we have the electronic one. And finally, at the end of the whole process, we deliver 2 bank accounts for the company, one in local currency and the other one in US dollars. In case the employer needs one in euros, for example, we're able to do that as well. So let's go over one of these part of the whole package, and I will explain you more in depth. So first of all, we have the legal representative. In Chile, the legal representative has to be a Chilean or a foreigner. The foreigner can be from any nationality, but the important part is that this person must have residence. So when the owner of the company lands in Chile, many times he or she has the difficulty of not having someone who can fulfill this role. And that's the reason why we are here, Montt Group, and act as the plan B of our client, and we are his or her legal representative. The legal representative as well is going to represent the company before the different organizations. It's important to understand as well that this legal representative is not related to having a stake in the company. It will only represent the company before institutions like the Ministry of Labor, the municipality, or equivalent to CRA, for example. So that's the main role of the legal representative. Then the second element is an address. Each company will need an address, and it's the same thing. At the beginning, it is very difficult for you to rent an office. It's going to be because you were just incorporated. So in that sense, we will function as well as for you as a plan B, and we can provide you with the legal address. Many companies, when they, for example, offer services, do not require the need of have a physical space. On the contrary, it becomes a higher and unnecessary cost because having an office, it will imply you to pay bills, utilities, have a secretary, internet, etc. So then in the event that you do not require this physical address, you can perfectly maintain the legal address and not incur in additional costs. The third element, which is very important, is that we provide the accounting service. Accounting for the companies means that the accountant who takes the account itself is going to receive different documents from the company. Purchase invoices, sales invoices, expense reports, etc., and other documents. And then that accountant who is in charge of your company is going to receive the information and enter it to a software, to an accounting software. And finally, it is going to report them, So in Chile, we usually provide monthly reports with financial statements and balance sheets. Therefore, the owner will clearly see how the movement of the company is going in Chile. It has also happened to us that there are companies that are in different countries. Let's say company XYZ has companies in the region as well, or maybe in US as well. So that's why it's important to consolidate all the way how the accounting is handling under that scenario. In this case, we will ask the company's controller or the administration and finance manager to share with us that format that they use internally so that we can comply and provide them with the reports based on what they need. Regarding the fourth point, which is the tax administration, this is related with the payment of the taxes, the affidavits that must be presented, and obviously the final balance in the presentation of the income tax payment. I just want to mention one thing about the first two parts about the legal representative, that we can assume that role for as long as you deem convenient. So there is no specific term for us to collaborate with you as legal representative. And with the legal address, it's the same. It's going to be always according to the time that you seem convenient. So, for example, if you decide to go to Chile and for the 6 months you are still like, handling the first clients and you're not going to need someone physically there, we can help you with those services. Later on, maybe you're going to need to bring someone, have an employee there, and that person can take the legal representative. Well, it's at this point where we can give that representation to the right person. Finally, and like I mentioned before, regarding the bank accounts, we provide them with two to the company. So usually we take care of all the opening, and if they require it in another currency, there's no problem. Now, apart from these services, again, as the employer in the moment came to us and say, guys, there is more services that we will need on the context of opening a new market, we decided to create additional services. And the first one, it's the back office service. So back office means that, for example, let's say the owner of the company that is here in Canada needs to have in Chile an administrative assistant, to put it in a way. So what it will be this assistant doing in Chile? It will be dispatching invoices, collecting invoices. If the company, for example, is going to export goods from Canada to Chile, it will need an assistant that is going to be in charge of the communication with the custom people, request the provision of funds, being able to enter the products, or in relation to the payments of suppliers, what the back office assistant does is upload to the platform, for example, the payments that our client has indicated to us that he's going to make at the end of the month. And I would like to highlight, just to be very clear here, that of course the one that is going to authorize the payments is the owner, not us, it's the client. But we will be providing the service based on the owner's authorization. The second additional service that we will offer you is the payroll. So in the payroll service, we take care of the payroll that the client will have in Chile. We take care of making the payments of their salary settlements and everything related to the calculation that will be needed for vacation purposes, for example, or for the withholding taxes, or when the employees have a commission system based. All of this is managed through the payroll service. The third service that we offer, it's the visa obtaining service. So when the company starts operations in Chile, sooner or later, you are going to be sending a trusted executive to start the operation as well. And in a certain way can transmit all the knowledge of what's going on in Chile to the headquarters. And that collaborator is going to need to be able to work in Chile. So for this purpose, in case it will come with the family as well, it will require to process them a visa or a permit that will allow this person to live and work in Chile. So that's another service that we can provide you as well. The fourth one, it's trademarks. That's very and another important issue is the registration or trademarks and taking the domains that you already used originally. Regarding this, we take care of making the respective registrations in the classes that you indicate us, and if we believe that there is any that is important to register it, we also make the suggestions, but who makes the final decision, of course, is you. You want to keep your trademark, as here in Canada as well as in Chile. This is a process that we highly recommend you to do, and we can guide you through. And finally, of course, as a firm of lawyers, accountants and consultants, we provide legal services in different matters. In Chile, where are our headquarters, we have more than 10 areas of specialty. We have labor area, tax, mining, water, commercial, intellectual property, and so many more. So in case you would like to know more about this, at the end, I'm gonna share with you information about the company, and you can review our website and learn more about our specialties that our studio has in Chile. And finally, I would like to tell you a bit more about Montt Group. So Montt Group it's a company with headquarters in Chile that has been in existence for more than 46 years. At the beginning, originally, it was just a law firm, but by the end of the 80s, the firm began to go abroad to open the new offices, like I told you, in the places where you're gonna see. The first offices that were open was the one in Argentina, in Peru, and Brazil, and offering the services that I just detailed to you. And then, like I explained you, these services were born as a need on the company's owner side. So receiving their feedback, we accommodate and adapt our services to what they were requiring so that they operate in a better way. So far right now, we have more than 250 full-time in-house employees. And we will be more than happy to help you. So finally, I would like to introduce you to our offices in Canada as well. Here you can find my contact information. And like I said, in all our offices, we provide the same service, the hosting services. As well as here in Canada, we are supporting Latin American companies that would like to set up offices as well. So I will leave you here, guys, now and see if you have any questions for me. Let me check. If there's any questions. We here in Canada, we have been providing the services since last year, since we opened 3 years ago. Like I was saying, soon we're going to be opening our offices in US, in Miami. And for companies interested in opening offices in another markets, apart from Chile, we can support you with our expertise based on our long existence. I'm just checking if there's any questions. I don't see any questions so far, but we're going to be sharing with you later on the presentation, the recorded presentation, and we're going to be sending you as well the PDF as well. So if you have any questions, we are going to be connected by email. And I just want to appreciate your assistance, and we're going to be in touch. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Take care to everybody.